The Cravathi warbeast stood nearly 3 meters tall, its obsidian scales gleaming under the harsh lights of the training dome. 6 eyes, arranged in a crown around its angular skull, swept across the assembled cadets with predatory intelligence. This was no mere animal. It was a weapon engineered across millennia to serve the Galactic Coalition's most elite warriors. Anna Chen stood in the back row, her standard-issue cadet uniform already damp with nervous sweat. Around her, the other recruits from a dozen different species maintained rigid attention. To her left, a Threxian's crystalline exoskeleton chimed softly with barely contained fear. To her right, 3 Volgrim stood shoulder to shoulder, their forearms crossed in a display of confidence that didn't quite reach their trembling antennae. "The bonding ceremony will now commence," announced Commander Xyrix, his reptilian features unreadable. "Kreshtar has served the Coalition for 70 standard years. Today we honor his fallen handler by selecting a new partner from among you." Anna's heart hammered against her ribs. She was the only human in this cohort, an anomaly in a military force that had only recently opened its doors to her species. Earth had joined the Coalition a mere 15 years ago, and humans were still regarded as curiosities. Brave, perhaps, recklessly so, but hardly the equals of species who had walked among the stars for thousands of years. The warbeast began its inspection. Each cadet it approached straightened impossibly taller, hoping to be chosen, or praying to be passed over. The creature moved with lethal grace, serpentine neck extending to bring its scarred muzzle within centimeters of each recruit's face. It inhaled deeply, analyzing pheromones, fear scent, and something more ineffable that no scientist had successfully quantified. Leo Vasquez watched from the observation deck above, his instructor's insignia gleaming on his collar. He had been through the ceremony himself 5 years ago, though he had not been chosen. Few were. The warbeast selected perhaps 1 handler in every 100 candidates. But he had seen something in Anna during her training, a quality that the brass had overlooked that even she didn't recognize in herself. The beast rejected the Threxian with a dismissive snort. The Volgrim warriors each received a thorough examination, but Kreshtar moved on without acknowledgement. A Drenthian cadet actually fainted when the creature's hot breath washed over her gills. One by one, the recruits were assessed and found wanting. Anna tried to control her breathing as the warbeast drew closer. She had read everything available about Cravathi biology, about their pack dynamics and hierarchical instincts. These creatures had been bred as instruments of war, but beneath the genetic modifications and combat conditioning, they remained social animals. They craved leadership, not dominance through violence, but the steady certainty of a mind that could make impossible decisions and carry the weight of those choices. The beast's massive head swung toward her. 6 eyes fixed on her face with unblinking intensity. Anna met its gaze without flinching, though every instinct screamed at her to look away, to show submission, to acknowledge that she was prey before a perfect predator. Kreshtar's nostrils flared. Once, twice, a third time, drawing in her scent with deliberate focus. Anna thought of Earth, of humanity's bloody history, written in trenches and beaches and burning cities, of the grandmother who had survived 3 wars and still planted flowers every spring, of the stubborn, beautiful refusal of her species to surrender, to break, to accept extinction when the universe offered it so generously. She thought of every human who had looked at the stars and decided they belonged there. The warbeast's posture changed. Its scaled shoulders lowered fractionally. The razor-sharp quills along its spine relaxed from their aggressive flare. And then, with a movement that sent shocked murmurs through the observation deck, Kreshtar sat. The creature's haunches settled against the floor, its tail curling around its body in a posture of absolute deference. One massive paw lifted and extended toward Anna, the ancient gesture of a warrior offering their blade to a trusted commander. "Impossible," someone whispered from above. "Commander." Xyrix's voice cut through the stunned silence, his translator struggling to mask his shock. "The warbeast has chosen. Pack Alpha found." Anna's hand trembled as she reached out to touch the offered paw. The scales were warm beneath her fingers, thrumming with the beast's powerful pulse. Kreshtar's eyes closed briefly, then opened with an expression that could only be described as contentment. Leo smiled from the observation deck. He had been right about her. The other cadets stared in disbelief. The human, the newest, least experienced member of the entire cohort, had been chosen by one of the Coalition's most decorated war beasts. It defied logic, precedent, and the carefully calculated probability matrices that governed military selections. But Kreshtar had not chosen based on logic. The beast had recognized something that could not be measured in combat simulations or tactical examinations. It had sensed the weight of inherited survival, the accumulated wisdom of a species that had clawed its way from caves to starships in the cosmic blink of an eye. It had smelled the scent of pack bonding so fierce that humans had domesticated wolves, turned predators into family, and carried that partnership across the stars. Anna Chen was prey that had become predator. She was weak that had learned strength. She was alone that had built civilizations on the principle that no one would be left behind. In her, Kreshtar recognized something the galaxy had not yet learned to fear. A human who understood that leadership was not about being the strongest, but about being strong enough to protect those who followed. The war beast had found what every warrior needed, someone worth fighting for. "Come," Anna said softly, her voice steady despite the chaos in her chest. "Let's go home, partner." The war beast rose to its feet, towering over her, massive enough to tear apart battle tanks. And yet it fell into step beside her with the loyalty of a creature that had finally found what it had been searching for across 70 years of war. Pack Alpha found. Indeed, the galaxy was about to learn what humanity had always known. The strongest packs were not built on fear, but on the unshakable certainty that someone would stand beside you when the darkness came, and humans had never learned to stand anywhere else.